Okay, hey everybody. Now I think I'm live. Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, November 18th, and I come to you live every Tuesday and Thursday. Let me just switch off the echo so that doesn't come. Okay, we're live. Thank God. Sorry about that. Had a bit of a delay, hiccup in the systems. Seem to be having that pretty regularly, but that's because we're a lean, mean, aggressive machine at Truflation and Truth Network. And we try to do as much as we can automatically, remotely, and distinctively. But we build and bring you quality content. That's what I do. I'm Stefan Rust. I'm the founder and CEO of Truflation and the Truth Network, which powers and is the software stack for Truflation.com, what you see there. We bring you transparent economic data and indexes that are traceable, attestable, and all on the blockchain, an SQL-based blockchain with BFT consensus algorithm and SQL smart contracts. Anyway, happy to be here. I come to you same time, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I give you an overview of what we're doing at Truflation, number one, and then number two, also what we're working on in the various areas and what is happening in the macro space. So today we'll cover off what happened over the weekend with regard to this blowout and crypto drop, what that really means, and who's shaking out everybody, right? Is it really just I'll get to that. Stay tuned. I'll talk about that. We'll also talk about some of the innovations taking place at Truflation, what the government shutdown means to various businesses. And then lastly, just some overview and some insights into where and what is happening on a macro level. So let's dig into it, right? And I think the first thing on everybody's mind is what happened this weekend. You can see here, it was a bit of a disaster. I don't know any of you who are, particularly those of you that are leveraged, you will have experienced a little bit of a hit. And here you can see what that hit was like, right? I don't know why this is here. I want this layout. Excuse me. I'm trying to share my screen here. Let me get you my screen share, bang, Bitcoin. There you go. Yeah, and you can see here really just a screeching down. And I think in the last sort of 24 hours, it's been a disaster from 94K all the way down to 89K. But more importantly, over the last 7 days, you can just see from 105 down, lost $10,000 per Bitcoin in value. So quite a strong steep, but I think the big steep drop was really, sort of culminating over the weekend from September. The last sort of 3 days, you can see here, a big drop on the 12th, bang, and then on the 13th, bang, bang, bang. It's just been on the way down, and now we're on a slight recover mode. Let's see what it's like. But I think, Coin Bureau put out a really good post from CryptoQuant, and CryptoQuant did a study. And what's it doing, right? Long-term capital is stepping in aggressively while short-term capital capitulates. What's this telling us? This is telling us institutions, the establishment is trying to shake out all of us and lose momentum, lose desire, lose passion, lose hope in this opportunity. So do not leverage like crazy. Don't go like crazy. Hodl, just hodl. Don't try and make billions overnight. Just make sure you don't come out of this shakeout that the big institutions shaking out the weaker retail. We even tell you here this season, the panic seems staged right at the highest levels. Fear and greed levels are at its highest, right? Fear, not greed, fear. And we haven't even had an interest rate drop yet. Wait till that comes. And it is going to come. I say so. Numbers of Truflation don't say so. But either way, we're going to see more of interest rate come down. I think that it is inevitable. that this is going to happen. We heard about the jobless rates come out, and so there were some numbers coming out around that. Even though, where are the jobless rates anyway? Yeah, and even though the government's not reporting, right? So you can see here, White House, no CPI and jobs data this October. So there's going to be no data. What does that mean? How do businesses that rely on government as the source of data, how do they stay operational? How do they perform, right? And here, we talked about last Thursday, about Polymarket. What's going on at Polymarket? Polymarket depends on the price of dozen eggs in October, and Kalshi exactly the same. They are using old systems. They trust the Bureau of Lying Statistics. They trust the data, the same data that the FOMC trusts and work with, right? All bad, old, lagging statistics, all being used by, and then boom, there's nothing there, no data. What do we do? How do you operate? How do you execute and settle markets, right? And so you can see here, additional context. They couldn't close the market. You cannot close the market. What does that mean? That means that in the event that the resolution source does not release the relevant information on the scheduled date, this market will remain open for up to 90 days until the information is released. If the information is not released by that time, this market will resolve according to September's information. It is confirmed that October's information will never be released within 90-day window. This market will resolve according to September's information. This market will use old, lapidated, shitty, crappy data. Sorry if there are children listening, this is not a child-friendly show. This is for adults that are looking for macro insight. And how can you settle something like this? Shane, you can do better than this. Tarek, you can do better than this. Let's do something together. This is a call and shout out. We give you eggflation, pure, live, 374, updated every single day. You can see the tick rate daily. Check out. Here we go. 374 by the dozen. Updated November 17, 2025. That was yesterday. Settled. Bang. Authenticated. Who by? Data sources. Who are the data providers? Nielsen, Numbeo, BLS. Okay, they didn't supply the data this time, but we have other sources. Nielsen, Numbeo, USDA. We always have backup. This is 24 hours, 24/7 uptime, maintained by multiple nodes. So when a Cloudflare goes down, we are still operational because we're not only on Cloudflare, we're using other networks, we're using other blockchains, we're integrated into Polymarket. Polymarket is running a node. These are all things that could be possible. Solana is running a node. So if Kalshi wants to launch and do settlement, we can run it on the chain managed by multiple node operators. We can run it on the chain on Polygon. So it's managed and maintained by multiple node operators, etc. So all of this becomes possible, and we can help with the settlement, and we provide attestation. Anybody can immediately go and check out the truth scan. Come and see, very much like an ether scan, very much like any blockchain. You have an explorer. I can see what the settlement is. Smart contract ready. Anybody can read this. So all of a sudden, this is now live, ready to be read by anybody. The source, Truflation, the geography, US. You can see all of these data sets here. They have not disclosed all this. You need to be a subscriber. You need to connect your wallet. You need to get permission to see the breakdown. I don't think they've deployed homomorphic encryption yet, but you can see the permissions. Who has permissions to read this? Is it public? Are there any whitelisted providers here, etc., etc.? But here you can see. You want more frequent data? Do you want it by the second? Do you want it by the minute? We can provide you all of that update. So all of a sudden, this market, as we disguised, can be settled. So that's what you have here. The other thing we were talking about is the arbitrage opportunity, right? So here you can see 350 to 375, 3%. Again, I'm going to share with you what we have identified as an opportunity. So I can come down here in the last, again, remember, we're roughly about 45 days ahead of the Bureau of Lagging Statistics, the BLS, right? And so what we're seeing here is right now we are never dropped below 354, right? Look at that. That was the lowest number ever. So if 354 was the lowest number ever, what would the actual likelihood be on settlement of this metric? So ultimately, it would land in the 3%. So I would buy this and I would pay $100 on this, and that would pay out $2,000. You'd make 20x return. 20x. That's a huge return. What's this arbitrage opportunity? How do we discover these? How do you work with real world data? How do we ensure we have a real world settlement with this? Or how do we take advantage and arbitrage these market sets and these data points? I mean, if this is only settling based on September information, that's pretty sad. No excitement, pretty boring. And this is a product, okay, admittedly, it's tiny. I'm sure it's of zero significance, very irrelevant, 109,000. Nobody at Polymarket cares. And in Kalshi, I'm sure it's exactly the same thing. I don't use Kalshi because I'm an investor in Polymarket. I was the first money in, so I really supported Chain right from the word go, and really glad to see where he's come out at. And I did support him right from the beginning. And I remember meeting him exactly when we were in Korea together in some conference at the Shilla Hotel. Anybody been to the Shilla in Korea, in Seoul? Anyway, we were there. But here you can see, let's see what Kalshi's saying. Do they have anything for eggs? Will egg prices go up? There you go. You just saw that there. Eggs. Will egg prices go up this month? So here you go. Information, not all consumer prices data is the same. The event specifically references CPI average from the BLS. Again, they're using something that doesn't work, right? Again, not accurate. They should be using Truflation data because the Bureau of Labor and Statistics is not reporting anything, right? So if the price, blah, 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 the following monthly average. So again, Tarek, let's work together. Let's use Truflation as the source of truth for settling your prediction markets. What is the volume here? The volume is only $8,000, so even smaller, right? And so I don't know. But if you look at, let's say, inflation, which they will also be getting from the government, and they don't even have October anymore, right? So here they've taken. You have a 12,000 volume here. Oh, whoops, I'm sharing this tab. Sorry. What I was meaning to show was this here. What's the egg price this month? Anyway, yeah, so we have the eggs data over here. And let's just check out inflation on Polymarket. What are they saying? October inflation, right? So October, 184,000 this time. And these are not going to get reported, right? We just found out and we heard from here, there's additional context, October figures. It'll be resolved according to September's figures. So it's going to resolve on September's figures. I mean, they find a resolution, which is great, attempting to find a way around, but we have a much better way, as all of you know. You have Truflation, which is up and running every single day. And here you can see US inflation numbers. What does it look like? Holding pretty steady at 2.54%. We've been holding steady now since November 9th. So pretty steady and consistent in that range for the last 10 days nearly. So yeah, it's looking good. The economy's holding out pretty well. And yeah, so we're still above the 2% that the Fed would like. But by the way, that 2% is totally arbitrary, right? The Fed was set up with one single purpose, was to hold prices consistent, never 2%. There's never a mention of 2%. That's just some number that there was come up arbitrary. And then the other one was really, excuse me, I have to have a drink, man. Something's in my throat. I don't know what. Big water. You know why? I always get big water bottles, so I don't need to go back and often, and I can stay seated and be as productive as I possibly can for as long as I possibly can. Anyway, so here you can see, again, just it's holding steady. And by the way, the BLS or the FOMC, the Federal Reserve never had a mandate of 2%. It was just basically price, employment, and price and inflation, right? So never 2% arbitrary. That's just some number that they came up with, some hokey pokey number. But as you know, we launched the employment index. So now, not only do you have the CPI, you also have the employment index. So here you can see employment holding steady at 143 million. We're updating this to daily, so this will soon change to daily. Stay tuned. We have multiple sources. You can see all the sources mentioned here, and you will be able to get this on the Truth Network pretty soon. So those are all things that are taking place. And I think one thing that if you follow us on Twitter, please follow us on X. You can see on X all the different elements. Oh, so here lots of questions coming in. Did you think the price of Truth Token can recover? Yeah, look, I wouldn't be here if I was not believing in what I'm doing. So the Truth Network is providing a lot of this back-end infrastructure. You've seen the Truth Scan. So that is really what we've been working on. Yeah, we've looked at our competitors. Adobe is a software company, so I don't know what they're doing in price evaluations. And we will come back to something with price stats. They're owned by State Street, which is an institution that is in the financial services industry. We'll get back to you on a blow-by-blow comparison between the two. We have been focused on delivering and developing products versus actually just looking at our competition. You tell us what you want from Truflation, and we will get you a service that you like. That's really what we want to get out there. We want to make sure that we build something users want, and it's anybody out there. And we're trying to not do what governments do. We're trying to track what we think is true inflation. Do you think the price of Truth Token will recover? I just answered that. I wouldn't be here if I didn't. Everything I own is tied to the Truth Network and Truflation. So I've spent the last 4 years building this platform tirelessly, relentlessly, against all odds, still today talking about inflation, Truflation, and why we need a new calculation of how inflation works. And we got more and many more partnerships coming out because more and more people are interested in the work that we're doing. They don't want to hear another Bureau of Lying Statistics. Instead, they want to hear the sore truth and what is truflation. Anyway, where did you send them? Nano, I don't know what you mean. Where did you send what? Here, one question I have has lagged is Truflation data to commodity prices on CME. What do you mean? I don't understand the question. I sent them to the last YouTube stream, but just in case, I sent to Oliver Rust, who has been very helpful. Yeah, okay, that's great. Glad Oliver's helping you. Yeah, we'll get a report and I'll bring that on Thursday. How about we try to do that? Maybe Natalia and the team can remind me that we don't forget that, so you get that. But anyway, that's another thing. So again, just all that does is a comparison between 1, 2, 3. Who cares about comparing? We got to deliver to you the best, the most accurate, the most user-friendly solution, and the most trustworthy solution, accessible to anybody and everybody, not just a select few. And that's what we're trying to do. And we hope we can meet your demands and requests. Yeah, so hope that answers some questions. One question I have, how lagged is Truflation data on the okay, yeah, how lagged is our commodities? It depends. If you want it by the second, we can have it by the second. But ultimately, if you're on the CME, you're on the CME. That's going to be faster than we get it, right? So we would use that. We don't only use the CME, we use multiple other exchanges. We use the LME, there's the Shanghai, there's commodity prices from Guangzhou. So if you want silicon futures, you get that from the Guangzhou exchange. And so I can share that with you here. You can share here. Let's have a look at silicon. Silicon spot pricing. Boom. There you go. Where do I get this from? It's the Guangzhou Futures Exchange. You can see that right here, right now. Yeah, so we get it from all sorts of different exchanges. It's not just the CME. But if you want it fast, if you're trading commodities, you're a specialist, go to the CME. But ultimately, the only people that can trade there are like 5,000 licensed, approved, and certified traders, not anybody. So it's limited to a select few. What we want to do is make a lot of this available to anybody on the crypto, any blockchain, and make that available. I think that's sort of really it. Our team is at DevConnect right now. You can meet some of them at the various conferences. You can see here, we just did a post. They hit the ground in Argentina. DevConnect is a big developer conference around the Ethereum ecosystem. So here you can see the Truflation suitcase arriving in Argentina. Unfortunately, I can't be there, but we've got strong support there with Rodrigo and with Ivan, both speaking there, also at the Chainlink House. So go check it out. We're also going to share what we've been working on with Quantum, a blockchain treasury fund, not a digital asset treasury, a blockchain treasury fund using Truflation as the signal to drive automatically, autonomously, based on signals from Truflation, the purchase of wrapped Bitcoin and the sale of wrapped Bitcoin when and based on the signals to do those trades. So check that out. Working together with Quantum, we're really excited about that. That is the future. That's the way these contracts will work in the future, and that's the way we can streamline a lot of that. We also had, talking about Truth Network and why I still believe and I'm passionate on this, and why I'm not going away, and why I believe that the Truth Token will recover. It's based on you. You have to believe in the value of the Truth Token. It's not me. I believe in it already. I'm here. You listening into the show also believe in it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. We need to jointly grow this ecosystem. You can build on the Truth Network. You can connect any prediction market to the Truth Network. If you want me to connect with somebody at a prediction market that wants to connect to the Truth Network, wants to use Truth Network or Truflation real live data, I will work to get that, and tirelessly, restlessly, relentlessly to make that a reality. That's what I'm here to do. Let's say we are measuring the inflation on milk and on Truflation, but since there's a milk exchange, I believe this on CME. Yes, there is. Yes. What's the lag between Truflation's measurement of milk and that of CME? I think the CME is a futures exchange of milk. We don't actually have milk yet, but I know that a lot of people that specialize in trading on milk. And we are going to be working with the Farm Agricultural News Network. And we have some things coming out there. We've got some interesting indexes. I think we are launching a breakfast index coming soon that includes milk. I think we have milk now live on Truflation. I know that we were looking to bring it live. Let's have a look now. Milk. I cannot find it. I know it's not live. It's on the Truth Network, but it's just not here. I can go to the Truth Network, truth.network. I can come on here and I can go to the Explorer. I just go to Truth Scan and I can search milk coin, milk, Solana ecosystem, Milky Way, Muesli Milk, Milk Alliance, Milky Way, Milky, milkshake from Nesquik. Look, you can get the price of in Argentina. Look, that's posted and published by the Ministerio de Economía. So look, you got Milka Oreos, milk out yogurt. I mean, can we bring to you more milk? I don't think we have actually the price of milk. I'm pretty sure we have it on here. I don't know why it's not displaying commodities. Let's see what it says. General Mills. No, not that is. Anyway, I don't know. I'm sure we have milk. Damn it. Anyway, I can't find it right now. We'll get it, but it's on there. I know it. So stay tuned, and we will get back to you on that. Yeah, I think that was really the big thing. I think, the big outage was down. I don't know, any of you experienced the outage of X? It was down Cloudflare outage live. I think everybody's hacking and trying to do DDoS, denial of service attacks on Cloudflare. Huge chunk of the internet down. Currently experiencing a global network outage. Here's the latest update, so you can find out about it. But yeah, that's why some of these services weren't working, which is really, I guess, an attestation. The other thing that's taking place, AI, big sell-off. You can see in the stock market, everybody's really fearful of technology. After Peter Thiel, I dropped his holdings in NVIDIA. It seems that NVIDIA suffered a bit of a drop as well. And then you're seeing other technology companies get a drop. But anyway, I have a hard stop, so I'm going to go today. And thank you all for listening. Check it out. Again, Truflation is up 24/7. Truflation is doing attestation, and there is arbitrage between Truflation and prediction markets. Stay tuned. We'll share more on that over the next couple of shows. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day and happy Thursday. Tuesday. Sorry, the days are interswapped with me. But I'll see you on Thursday, the 20th of November. Same time, same place. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the week.